it's Cody from FrontierLife.net. Today I'm going to shoot an extension video on how to make ash cakes, so stick around. So if you're reading History of the West with Jemmy Fletcher, Tyrant's Road, you've probably come to the point where Jemmy mentions ash cakes. Now, ash cakes are a traditional food that were prepared primitively by people for a long time. And ash cakes are really simple to make, and that was why travelers used them for a long time. And it all starts with a fire. Now, we made this fire using flint and steel, and so if you want to know how to do that, you can bounce over to another video on my channel. I'll show you how to do that. But now I got my fire going, and the first thing I have to do is I got to get a good bed of coals. I got to get a good bed of ashes going, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to add some larger wood and then just let it cool down over time. So I'll show you what it looks like after that. So before I show you how to make ash cakes, I'll just show you the ingredients you're going to need. So it's going to start with flour. Now on the Oregon Trail, flour was one of the main staple foods that people had, or staple ingredients that people had. So they used a lot of flour. Mountain men, they could get it occasionally. Didn't keep real well. They had to keep it dry. But once in a while, the trade inventories do have them getting a little bit of flour from some of the forts. So I got my flour here. I got a salt horn right here, just a little bit of table salt in it. So I'm going to use a little bit of that. And then just some water in my kettle here. So those are the three things you're going to need to make ash cakes. So now we're going to go ahead and mix our ingredients. Now I've seen guys do this a lot of different ways. Some guys have a bowl. Some people use a board. Some people are able to mix it right in this bag here. You can do anything that you want to mix it. I'm going to use the top of my kettle here, the lid of my kettle here. All I'm going to do, I'm going to pour out fairly generous helping of flour. Take my salt. I'll add a little bit there. And then just like with any bread, I'm going to try to add just enough water to kind of get it where it's sticky. Just going to use my hands to mix it up. Just going to make more water. There we go. It might be too much, but that's not a big deal. As you can see, it's a little bit runny here, so then I'm just going to go back to my flour. I'm going to add a little bit more. It's just a feel thing, you just get it where you want it. Add a little bit more. There we go, that'll be plenty. I think, we'll see. It's still a little bit wet. Now let's get a little extra flour. There we go. I'm kind of liking where that is right there. Getting pretty close at least. All right. Oh, we're pretty close. You can see it's not really sticking to my hands anymore. So it's going to put us right about where we want to be. So I'm going to tend the fire a little bit and show you what that needs to be like, and then we'll go ahead and put that in. All right, so as you can see, our fire here, we've let this burn for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and we've got a pretty good little bed of coals here. Now, it's not real hot, and all I do now is going to make a little kind of clearing there, and then I just take my ash cake, kind of press it down. The thinner you go here, the quicker it will cook. And I'm just going to set it right on the ashes. I'm going to throw some on the top there. There we go. And now I'm just going to let it bake in those coals there. And the time, really just depends. It depends on how hot your coals are. It depends on how big your ash cake is. It depends on a lot. But you're gonna smell this baking bread here coming off this fire. Between maybe 5 and 10 minutes of cook time is probably about average. So we're gonna go ahead and let it cook and then show you how to take it out. Okay, so we've had this in the ashes for probably close to 15 minutes now. I could definitely tell that the heat of the coals has decreased by quite a bit. And you can still smell the smell of baking bread. If you want to tell how done it is, you can just take a little stick and you just poke it in the middle somewhere. And that should give you an idea of what the consistency is like in this bread. And this stuff's pretty good. I think it's going to be a little bit soft, but because our coals are done, we're going to go ahead and take it off here. Okay, so now our ash cakes have been in for 15 minutes or so. And like I said, the heat from the coals is pretty well gone. So I'm just going to scrape those coals off. Just kind of grab it out of the fire here. Scrape off what I can there. There we go. And that's what we got right there. Just going to scrape the ashes off. Try to get as much of those coals off as we can. Now this is still a little bit soft. My coals must not have been very hot on the bottom side. On the top side, it's all done. And then, there we go. So it's pretty well cooked. And that's an ash cake. So hopefully you've enjoyed this extension video on how to make ash cakes. And hopefully it gives you a better idea of what's happening in the Tyrant's Road, the Jemmy Fletcher book, Tyrant's Road. And hopefully it gives you a little bit better sense of history and what life was like on the frontier. That's what living history experiments or activities like this are so great, is that they teach you a lot about the history by doing it. My wife and I were talking as we were doing this, as she was filming for me, and just about how slow life would have been and how it took so long to get simple things accomplished. And so that's a great thing about doing living history. And I hope that as you read the Jemmy Fletcher books, I hope that you take the time to do a few of the living history activities so that way you can learn as you read. So this is Cody from FrontierLife.net. Thanks for checking this out.